that you speak up on politics. Now, it's fine. You want to speak up on politics? Everyone in the United States has the right and the capacity to speak up on politics. Whether we should respect your opinion is another question. Lots of people have very dumb opinions. So among those who have very stupid opinions is Adam Rippon. So Adam Rippon is an ice skater. And he says that, quote, I'm not like a gay icon or America's gay sweetheart. I'm just America's sweetheart, and I'm just an icon. So Milo Yiannopoulos coming back as an ice skater there. He finished 10th. Like 10th. Okay, you know who finished 10th in the NFL last year? It was the Atlanta Falcons with a 10-6 record. The Jacksonville Jaguars also were 10-6. This does not make you an icon. If you finish 10th, that does not make you an icon. But the media are so perverse that they actually moved to give Adam Rippon a job as a commentator after finishing 10th at the Olympics. Can you name the person who finished 10th at the last Olympics? You can't. You know why? Because they're not an icon. Definitionally, you finish 10th at the Olympics, you're not an icon. So NBC briefly hired him to serve as a correspondent for the rest of the 2018 games in Pyeongchang, South Korea. He's one of the first openly gay athletes to compete at the Olympics. And he won a bronze medal for figure skating at some point, I guess. Will work for NBC as a correspondent on TV, digital, and social media. The only reason that they're even talking about having him, first of all, anyone who thinks that he's a gay icon in figure skating, guys, Weir, Brian Boitano, have you watched the figure skating coverage at all? I haven't. But if you have, then you've seen Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir. Okay, Johnny Weir is dressed like Lady Gaga every day, commentating on this. I mean, that guy is 10 times as gay as Adam Rippon. Or at least if you're talking about gay stereotypes, he is stereotypically gay, much more than Adam Rippon. He's a gay icon. Okay, Johnny Weir is much more of a gay icon than Adam Rippon, but Adam Rippon ripped on Mike Pence, and therefore he's a gay icon now for some odd reason. The media wish to prop up these cultural figures because they think that the American people actually listen to them. The American people don't listen to them. Other people who the American people don't really care about hearing from on politics as a general rule, LeBron James. So LeBron James can say whatever he wants on politics. Laura Ingraham, when she said, shut up and play basketball, now LeBron James can say whatever dumb thing he wants. That's his prerogative. But LeBron James responded to Laura Ingraham, and so now we're going to have a LeBron James-Laura Ingraham fight for no apparent reason, which is just awesome for the culture. Here's LeBron.
Well, definitely not shut up and dribble. I would definitely not do that. I mean too much to society. I mean too much to the youth. I mean too much to the to so many kids that feel like they don't have a way out, and they need someone to help lead them out of the situation they're in. And that's why I would not just shut up and dribble, because I mean too much to my two boys here, their best friend right here, my daughter that's at home, my wife, my family, and all these other kids that look up to me for inspiration. Okay, that's his prerogative. That's his prerogative. And it is worth pointing out, people were saying this is a race thing. Right? Joy Reid came out and she said that it's just that Laura Ingraham wanted to slam a black guy. That's why Laura Ingraham did this. Yeah, this is ignorant. Here's what Joy Reid had to say.
And, you know, and Eric, there is this extent to which Fox News has decided that the grist for the ratings mill is black people. Right. Black NFL players, black NBA players. I mean, you had Eminem make a music video attacking Donald Trump. That's not interesting to them. Right. And the grist is always black and brown people because they know what it sells. And yet you have Laura Ingraham taking such umbrage and saying, oh, how dare you say my words were racist?
Her words weren't racist. She wrote an entire book. It was a New York Times bestseller called Shut Up and Sing, about the Dixie Chicks. The Dixie Chicks, last I checked, are the whitest people on planet Earth. And she wrote an entire book about how people who are in the music business should shut up and sing. This has been Laura's shtick for a very, very long time. I mean, let's at least be honest about the critiques that we're making of people. If you think that Laura Ingraham shouldn't have said that LeBron James should shut up and dribble because you think that everyone has a right to speak, that's fine. But if you want to say that that's a racist thing, Laura Ingraham's been saying this about every celebrity that she can find for the last 15 to 20 years. I know, I was there. But Joy Reid wants to say it's a racial thing. Also, the idea that Fox News is somehow ignoring the Eminem music video. They covered the Eminem. I was on Fox and Friends, I think, the morning they covered it. They've covered the Eminem music video over and over and over again. Then they covered the Snoop Dogg music video. One of the reasons that they keep covering, quote unquote, black folks in athletics is because it's a lot of black folks in athletics who are becoming very political these days. And because they think that Trump is racially biased and they think Trump's a racist and all the rest of it. The vast majority of players who are kneeling for the anthem in the NFL were black. The vast majority of players in the NBA who are wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts were black, because the vast majority of players in the NBA are black. It's not that Fox News is this attempt to graft racial issues onto what are really political issues, I don't like very much. Another note about LeBron. When LeBron says, I'm too important to people not to speak up, that may be true. There are a lot of people who find LeBron James very important and they want to hear from him. That may be true in the same way that it was true for Muhammad Ali. I don't like making sports figures into political figures because I don't think they know very much about politics as a general rule. The mistake that Laura Ingraham made here was suggesting, if she made a mistake, was suggesting that innately LeBron James is not capable of talking about politics because he's a basketball player, as opposed to he doesn't know what he's talking about, therefore we shouldn't pay any attention to him. The problem isn't LeBron speaking out. The problem is a society that takes celebrities seriously on politics. How do I know that our society takes celebrities seriously on politics? The president of the United States is Donald J. Trump. Okay, yes, we take our celebrities seriously on politics. It's true on the right and it's true on the left. You can't critique LeBron for speaking out on politics if you were willing to vote for Kid Rock in the U.S. Senate race in Michigan. You can't talk about how you don't like celebrities talking about politics if you are excited every time Clint Eastwood makes a political statement. It doesn't work for one side and not for the other. And on the left, you can't whine about Donald Trump as a celebrity. What does he know about politics if every time a celebrity comes forward like Lena Dunham whining about abortion, you take her super seriously because she writes a terrible show on HBO? Either we're going to have to judge people based on their expertise, or we're going to have this whole other ancillary set of gauges that we use for determining legitimacy. Now, how close were they to a situation? So we'll use sympathy. How close were they to a situation that affected them? Or we'll use celebrity as a marker of decency and genius. Or we could say, well, does this person know anything about what they're talking about? And if the answer is no, then maybe we shouldn't, as a people, take them particularly seriously. Maybe Adam Rippon's take on politics is not particularly relevant because Adam Rippon doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He went on national television and suggested that the vice president of the United States is for gay conversion therapy, which is factually false. Maybe we shouldn't offer him a slot on ice skating coverage so he can do his politicking at NBC. By the way, they withdrew the offer apparently after there was some blowback. The reason that people are up in arms about sports and politics is because there's been a whole set of media elites who have decided that sports figures and cultural figures have something deep to say. And you see it every time there's one of these controversies and a bunch of people come out and say, where's Taylor Swift on this issue? Where's Taylor Swift been on Me Too? Where's Taylor Swift been on the Pussy Hats? Who cares where Taylor Swift has been on any of this? She writes poppy teen beat songs. Who cares? Why does it matter where she is on this? Why would I possibly care what a boxer has to say about this stuff unless the boxer's actually spent some time learning about the political issues at issue? There are boxers, by the way, who have spent time on politics. I think is it Vladimir Klitschko, the heavyweight, or his brother, who is very involved in Ukrainian politics? But the mark of expertise should not be how many cameras are on you on an ancillary thing. The mark of expertise should be whether you actually know what the hell you're talking about. Jennifer Lawrence, by the way, says she's taking off time from acting to save our democracy. So she apparently thinks the Hunger Games is a real thing. She's going to go get her bow and arrow and run out there. If the previews for Red Sparrow are any indicator, then I think we've all been blessed by her decision. But Jennifer Lawrence, why are we paying attention to her on politics? Who cares what Jennifer Lawrence has to say on politics? The answer is no one should, because she doesn't know what she's talking about. But we all will, because celebrity now dominates the roost. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. Trump campaign? Here's what the indictment says. Quote, some defendants, posing as U.S. persons and without revealing their Russian association, communicated with unwitting individuals associated with the Trump campaign and with other political activists to seek to coordinate political activities. Folks, that's not collusion. Collusion, you actually have to know who you're talking to. I don't understand the argument that this is collusion. If I were to call up the Trump campaign and say, I want to do a rally for you in Texas, and they say, sounds great, let's do a rally in Texas, and I'm not Russian, then it's not collusion. If I am Russian and I say, let's go do a rally in Texas, and they don't know that I'm a Russian agent, then how is it collusion? It's only collusion if they know they're forwarding the agenda of the Kremlin. If the Kremlin's agenda is the Trump victory, that's not Trump's fault. Trump's victory is his own agenda. The logic that you did something and it happens to be coincident with something the Russians wanted, not that you coordinated with Russia and that's collusion still, that logic does not hold. So what exactly did all of these organizations do? They created, quote, certain fictitious U.S. personas into leaders of public opinion in the United States. Like what? They created thematic group pages, including Blacktivist, Secured Borders, and Army of Jesus. And they created Twitter accounts like 10GOP, which ended up with more than 100,000 followers. By the way, if that's the extent of what they did, that they created one Twitter account that was successful, that had 100,000 followers. You know how many people have accounts of 100,000 followers? A lot. You know how many people have accounts with over 1 million followers? Not all that many. I have about 1.2 million followers right now. If the Russians really wanted to pour resources into Twitter, you'd figure they would get one account that was really, really influential. 100,000 followers is not all that influential. So who did they support? Quote, They engaged in operations primarily intended to communicate derogatory information about Hillary Clinton, to denigrate other candidates such as Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and to support Bernie Sanders and then candidate Donald Trump. They encouraged U.S. minority groups not to vote in the 2016 U.S. presidential election or to vote for a third-party U.S. presidential candidate. So pushing for Jill Stein and against Hillary Clinton. It sounds like they didn't like Hillary very much. It sounds like it was more anti-Hillary than pro-Trump per se. But regardless, there is no evidence of actual Trump-Russia collusion in these indictments. Now, could there be evidence that appears later? Sure, but we're still waiting to see some. Rick Gates is a member of the Trump campaign who's now going to be indicted. Looks like he's going to be indicted on charges having nothing to do with Trump. Looks like it has to do with corrupt activities with regard to Ukraine and Paul Manafort. So thus far, we've had zero evidence that the Trump campaign actively colluded with the Russians. The best that they can do is say there was intent to collude. That would be the meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, and the exchange that Trump Jr. had with a friend of his in Russia who is saying the Russian government wants to help out. So intent to collude is not a crime. Actual collusion is probably not a crime, actually, depending on how exactly it went down. But the story we've been told for over a year is that the Russians skewed the election to Hillary Clinton, and then the evidence they provide for this is really scanty. Like putting up memes on Facebook that have 15 shares, putting up dumb memes that have 100 shares on Twitter, one Twitter account that's successful enough to have 100,000 followers, that's it. So Trump rightly comes out and starts blasting away against the Democrats for all of the Trump-Russia stuff in an epic tweet storm. He says, Russia started their anti-U.S. campaign in 2014, long before I announced that I would run for president. The results of the election were not impacted. The Trump campaign did